Live.
Oh, sorry. Didn't know we were live.
No, that's fine. I was trying to sneak on you, but then all of a sudden we got Mr. Potty Mouth over here. It just starts firing off the mouth.
Pretty much pays me well enough and gives me a brand new truck. He says anything else.
Waiting on Joe. Waiting on Joe.
Hey, there's Joe.
Hey.
Hi, Joe.
Hey, there she is. Enormous. There she is.
There's my big guy.
I know, yeah. We got the whole podcast.
Hurry up, you big dummy.
I like this. I can lean back.
All right.
I can't really. Yeah, I'm kind of happy that I didn't get one of the rings.
So-
That's a good score. I know. Does it raise? If it raises,
Right.
I'd be super excited. Nah, it's not a freaking thing. No, it doesn't.
Is Papa George going to join us for listeners' questions today?
Yeah, why not? They can ask Papa George. He's up for it.
I'm going to be saying that.
Yes, you are. You're going to be singing it all night
I
long.
will say that's one of my
There are
favorite
so many
things,
of us
is I
here.
look forward to the commercial.
So many of
Every
us.
Let me know when you're
single
good,
time.
Good. Testing. One, two.
Perfect. All right. You brothers ready to go live?
Whole thing of pastries.
Hey, Dan, can you beer me another one?
Me as well, please.
Also me.
We're running low on lime, though. I'm not sure how.
I don't need a lime.
It wasn't for you, Garo.
I'll take a can.
I'll drink anything.
Selection in a can.
That's what I do. Cut it real small.
Here it starts.
Oh, come on, that was easy.
You didn't even hear it. That's the best part. Oh, wait, did you hear it?
Yeah.
Oh, you did hear it? I didn't think you heard it.
Can you got shorts on today or no?
He's got long. He's only long pants.
Ah, here we go. I got a bad feeling. This is going to be a straight ball busting session. Sorry. Sorry.
Is that because he wore Speedos?
No, he wore shorts a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, it was a thing. It was a whole thing.
You call hell for it. What's up, Joseph?
Angle in his defense.
All right. Just going to fill our glasses and then.
Papa George is going to sit here on my
what's
lap.
this? A freaking bartender. Down. Actually, you know what? I don't know where your hands have been, so it's fine.
Yep. Now it's too late. It's in there.
You don't
Wait.
put it-
I
you don't put No, because I shoved the lime in and then flip it upside.
Is it not supposed to be one of those nights?
No, it's fine. I figured it was going to be one of those nights, so. I can't stand sleeves that like catch on my arm. It's driving me nuts.
All right, what's on Discord?
Ooh, looks like the Freemasons podcast is watching.
That's me.
Yeah, I know. It's being funny. No, I'm not. It's so weird though to see it actually say the Freemasons podcast because it's usually me, like on the other end of it.
Yeah, I don't know how to make it switch over to me. Oh,
No,
yeah.
you're an admin, so it's how it pops
I've
up.
been commenting as, so I can't.
Yeah, you're logged in as them. So.
Yeah, you're logged in as that. So unless you did it from your phone because
Okay,
it says that
with
you're.
you. Okay, now I'm commenting.
Yeah, I think you could
Can't
toggle
play with
back
you.
and forth.
Now we're good.
All right.
We need
Shut up, Danny.
What's up with Danny's hair?
Stop inviting
All
us.
right.
Dan, your hair. What's up with your hair?
I didn't
It's
really-
awful.
I just came from work, all right?
Jesus, man, that's awful.
I would say he looks dirty, but he usually looks dirty anyway. So
Happy about still
You
having
want to borrow my hat? I'm sure mine messed up looks better than that.
You're probably right. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not a good hair day person. But
All
the
right,
hair
just
person
remember,
I always-
speaking of the mic, speaking of talk, because otherwise I'm catching your
Oh, you
distance.
need one too?
The vast emptiness.
Joe, do you need some?
Drier than
I was going to wait for you to come back and sit down and then ask you for what.
That's fucked up.
If we have any Jack's Abbey, I'll take it. If not, the Yingling light will work too.
Any what? Say that.
Jack's
Jack's
Abbey.
Abbey, the blue and purple
It's in a, blue
box.
can.
There you go. Okay, I thought these
Yeah,
were.
we left them for you.
I'm not gonna lie. I saw purple. Thought they were polars.
Oh, no, they're nice loggers.
Dan, you want your ass
They're
kicked?
for everybody. Anybody
Trying to be
can
funny?
have
I tried one of
Come on, Dan. You trying to be slick? Thought they were polos? You trying to be funny?
I did.
You trying to slide one in?
Because
Trying
I
to
emptied all. I thought they were.
Go give me the sword in the other room.
all the boxes, so
you
that
stab him.
it was less.
Polar shit. We're not going to start with that.
This is what real beer.
Sit down,
tastes
you.
like.
Hey, you.
No sword. No sword.
Dan, what are you drinking? A Peroni over there?
Yeah, George got Peroni.
He's not going to get the
All right.
Sword of Honor, is he?
He was going to because I said I was going to shank Dan. But it's a good thing that I know that he
Drag it
listens.
behind you.
All right, you ready, fellas?
We're ready.
5, 4. We're gonna. 5, 4, 3, 2. Hello.
Hello, everybody. This is Puppet George,
and this is the Freemasons Podcast. With me tonight, all these bitches.
Welcome to the Freemasons Podcast. I'm your host, Right Worshipful Brother George Mudry. And for those who are listening on the podcast on Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, whatever you're listening on platform, you probably just heard a song. And that song was actually a song by the rapper Apathy.
Oh, nice.
That I'm going to be putting on there. And
Apathy,
he is going
nice.
to be, he's given me permission to put up blurbs of his song, as well as I'm going to promote his tour and everything, but he's going to be here in October.
I will say, just as a sidebar, I started listening to a bunch of his stuff, and lyrically, the Masonic drops and the Masonic almost innuendos and everything else, it is kind of cool listening to a hip-hop artist where I get what he's saying,
Dropping
but I
Masonic
know
ends.
he probably has fans that aren't Masons that don't really,
Right.
don't get the innuendos and everything.
So the song that you heard is called the Legend of the Third Degree, and that is off his Widow's Son album. He's on tour right now, and if you go to the Freemasons Podcast later tonight, I will be putting up his tour if anybody's interested, and he's going to be all over the place. So
Hey, that's mine.
let's get into some introductions. I've introduced myself. To my left,
Puppet George.
Worshipful Brother Joe. Worshipful Brother Ken.
Brother Rocco.
Brother Daniel. Where's your brother Dan?
we got two Dans in the house
Next to each other.
Yeah, I
next
know,
to each other. So that's kind of funny.
Dans.
They don't look anything alike, though.
No.
But anyway, so if you're watching, today's podcast is going to be basically, ask us questions. We have no topic for today. We're just going to be just up
Absolutely
here
Kind of
shooting.
one of the reasons I came by. I was
We're gonna
like,
be up here
I
shooting
don't worry
shit.
About anything.
No topic, no homework.
Research.
We're
I
actually
got
gonna
jokes. I
sure you
always
do.
have
I was
jokes.
gonna say, I think you always
Sure you will.
George.
But so ask us anything. You could ask us about ourselves. You could ask us about our Masonic careers. You could ask us about everything. Actually, I have a couple questions that were asked, and we're going to toss it around the table. Worshipful Brother Ken is over here on the computer. I'm sure you've seen all the questions, and that's what we're going to do. Let's get started with this first, though. First thing I got to do is tomorrow's my birthday. I'm asking.
Happy
birthday.
Thank you. 25 all over again. But
For like the 15th time.
Yeah, it's his 15th anniversary of being 25.
lying now. You know, no one will know.
so tomorrow's my birthday, and what I did was on my personal Facebook. If you are friends with me and you listen to this, or if you want to look me up on Facebook, again, Jordan Andrew Mudry, I'm up there. It's also attached to the Freemasons Podcast. I'm asking people to donate to the Wounded Warrior Project. I'm asking to raise $200. I'm hoping to smack that one out of the park and go above it. Wounded Warriors Project is a very good, what do you call it? Charitable thing.
Worthy cause.
Yeah, a very worthy cause. It's for disabled veterans who have been wounded in battle and everything. So please go on and donate.
I hope both of your friends donate.
What?
I hope both of your friends donate.
Clever. That's actually Gingers who have two friends. Remember Harry Potter? It's the big myth about the movie.
Oh, that's just messed up.
Laura said you can't grow a beard, Dan.
Oh, you're ruining it, man. That was for question time.
All right.
Oh my God! Yeah, that was supposed to.
I'm not going to get into all of our sponsors and everything. I'm not going to get into all of our pages and everything. You've listened long enough. If you're listening, if you're on this episode, you know where to find us. Go on there. I actually just added a new shirt on the FreemasonsPodcast.com. It is the Do It Just shirt, and I put a what is that thing called?
Square?
Yeah, that
Instead of the Nike swoosh?
instead of the Nike
have a
swoosh,
Swoosh.
we have a square, and it says "Do It" and then just below it. So anyway, let's get into some toasts. We have some new likes on Facebook. Matthew Gonzalez, Michael Fitzpatrick, Stephen Baker. Brethren, right hand arms.
To arms.
Ready.
Ready.
Aim.
Aim.
Fire. Good fire. Fire all. Together, brothers. Viva! 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 Papa George participated.
This big dummy doesn't know his right from his left.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about it. All right. While we're at it, I had actually, we're going to do another toast here. I'm going to toast a Lodge and I'm going to toast a Mason. Oh, as soon as my phone decides to allow me to play. I actually got a message through Facebook, and it was from...
It's amazing that facial recognition software works on you.
It's going to be
All
one
right.
of those nights.
Yes, it is.
It's gonna be one of those nights.
This is from worshipful brother Rudy Zamora. Howdy and good morning, brother. And I'm a past master of Julian Field Lodge 908 Ancient Free and Accepted Masons in Fort Worth, Texas. And yes, that is the correct spelling for Julian Field, whom our lodge is named after. I recently discovered your podcast on the Stitcher app and started listening to your channel for the first time this morning. Episode 54, Masonic Lodges and Firearms. Great episode. Really enjoyed that commercial break. Very funny. And then he goes into talk about the rules of carrying a firearm in Texas.
If you have a pulse, you can carry a gun.
No, it's actually, we'll get into it afterward. It's too long to read and everything. But he says, let's see here. You guys mentioned some really good points that I'll be bringing to my lodge's attention, such as periodic firearm safety refreshers and possibly even arming our Tyler and Junior Deacon. We have a Warden's Retreat scheduled this weekend over in Dallas. I'm going to bring up the topics of firearms. And let's see here. He goes, anyway, I just wanted to, I'll read it, if you guys want to hear the whole thing afterward. It's very, very long. And he actually said, sorry for writing a book. But he said, anyway, I just wanted to reach out and say howdy. Great podcast. Keep up the good and square works. Rudy Samora, past master, junior warden, community service chair, Julian Field Lodge 908. So, we're going to recharge our cannons, and we are going to toast not only worshipful brother Rudy Samora, but also his lodge.
He's got the other stuff.
Yeah, I thought he had like
they want my.
I have it over here.
My slum.
or slum.
Slum it over here
Yeah,
with
we
us.
slum.
We're at like a little kids table, like at Thanksgiving.
Yeah, we're at the children's table.
We're just gonna sit here and play Xbox and mess around with our phones while the old
You know
people
what?
talk.
Yeah.
Once you hit a certain age, you want to go back to that.
Very nice. You guys, by pass this down there, you guys good?
No, we're good. We
Okay.
were loaded with slum
You
juice.
make,
All right.
You know, you make goop with like
I like how
ketchup in
Ginger's
it,
is called slum
salt,
juice.
pepper.
All right. So, actually,
Ken's gonna do it.
worship brother Ken, lead us.
Okay. I'm going to do something a little bit different.
Oh.
Which lodge are we toasting? I'm sorry.
I don't like
We
change.
are toasting. God,
Comfortable change.
forgot it already.
Dan and Dan
It was a
are-
complicated name. That's the only
Dan's
thing.
Yes,
like
it was
changing it.
Julian Field Lodge 908, and that is in Fort Worth, Texas.
Okay, so I am going to toast Julian Field Lodge 508
That's a big
Mhm.
board.
And
in Fort Worth, Texas,
and worshipful brother Rudy Zamora.
and worshipful brother Rudy Zamora,
Mhm.
and
Okay.
right worshipful brother George Mudry,
Oh.
whose birthday is this week.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
birthday,
Thank
Brother
you.
George.
Thank you.
Brothers,
thank
right hand to arms.
you. Arms.
Arms.
Ready,
Ready.
aim,
Aim.
fire, good fire, fire all.
Sorry, Ken.
Together, brothers.
Vivat, vivat, vivat. And thank you. Thank you, brothers.
Happy 50th birthday, George.
You don't look a day over 49.
Said
Kids' table's acting up.
George,
over here.
not Joe.
Oh.
All right. So while we're on it, next thing we're going to jump into, and we're going to do, again, sign up for Patreon. It's the only thing I want to plug. Sign up for Patreon. Join us on Discord. We have great conversations. All of your favorite characters are on there. And we just haven't got Puppet George on there yet. We'll get him a profile.
Put a joke on the podcast.
You did,
group chat.
Bullet.
He didn't know if it was appropriate for Discord, so
Uh,
I advised him to hold back on that one.
Sometimes he gets a little unruly.
It gets a little.
I'll have to look at it again. But all right, let's get into George Washington's rules for Freemasons. The last one we covered was associate yourself with with men of good quality if your esteem or your own reputation, for it is better to be alone than in bad company. I think we all pretty much do that, with the exception of this little puppet over here.
We try.
Looks like I should be alone right now.
So we're going to get into 63. A man ought not to value himself of his achievements or rare qualities of wit, much less of his riches, virtue, or kindred. That is to say, a person's value is determined by what he does for others, not what he has received or done for himself. That kind of mirrors Albert Pike's type of ideology, as he had also said.
Absolutely.
So I don't think that's really something that you need to do or practice. I think it's just pretty much I
think it's something that you can mess up.
Yeah.
So I think we should be mindful of that over the next week. But
perfect. All right. So we got no topic, listeners' questions. And
There's a few up there.
yeah, we got a few.
we got a few up there. All right, you guys are watching because I'm kind of half watching, half not watching. I got too much going on over here.
What do you want to start with, Discord or Facebook?
Start with Discord.
Okay.
They
So
take
earlier
precedence.
Earlier on today on Discord, a few
Ken,
questions.
just
came in.
turn it a little bit more in front of you.
Okay.
Talking to Mike, Ken.
Speak into the microphone.
Make some noise.
There you go.
Tommy.
Let's see. Gideon actually had a couple things to say.
What's up, Gideon?
He's watching live as well, but these were a couple questions that he had earlier on Discord.
Is that the little Dutch boy?
That's the little Dutch boy.
Shut up, Papa George. He was asking about. Let's see. He was asking about the Illuminati in general, about
Okay.
the actual Illuminati, the real Illuminati, not the people that are
I did a little
trying
history
to
on it.
scam people.
I did a little story on it.
You want to talk a little bit about that first?
What exactly was he asking?
He said an episode about the Illuminati would be interesting. I mean, how it started in Bavaria and what the actual facts are.
Okay. I actually did that on, I think it was the Mason's Mouth Off. The very first episode I did it. I didn't get very into depth, but I basically talked about Adam Weishaupt, who was the guy who started it. I talked about how they weren't trying to conquer governments and everything, so to speak. They're not trying to topple worlds, but they did get very big. Adam Weishaupt was not known to have become a master mason. The only research that I had found was that he was actually a fellowcraft and stopped taking his degrees, and then he went and made the Perfectus Illuminatus, which was the Order of the Illuminati, which is a separate branch, and many Freemasons actually jumped into it.
I found the same thing. I found the same research. So he stopped.
He
Stopped at Fellowcraft.
He stopped at Fellowcraft.
And they recruited from other lodges.
Yes, and many Freemasons actually ended up joining that. And
Was he disgruntled?
I don't think he was disgruntled. I just think he wanted to take it in a different direction. From everything I've gathered, it wasn't disgruntled. He just didn't. He believed a little bit more. He wanted to
More empowerment type of, or what do you mean by more?
just take it in a different direction than what the regular Freemason lodges were doing. I think it was more if he wasn't finding. He was doing it for him, so he went and made his own degrees about it. His best friend was actually killed by a lightning strike, of all things. That actually killed him right off the bat, killed him. But ironically, the papers that he was bringing to Adam Weishaupt, which basically spelled out everything the Illuminati was about, they were left uncharred. And it got into the hands of authorities, and that was the beginning of the end for him. So don't forget, much different government back then, much very church-oriented, and especially even the powers that be, the government powers, they didn't like the fact that somebody was trying to shake the tree a little bit. But from some of the information that I found about the Illuminati was basically they didn't not believe in government. They just thought that if everybody acted according to moral law, there'd be no need for a government. And that would basically piss off governments. So that's what I pretty much have on him. But all right, keep firing away, Ken.
Well, he had a couple other ideas on potential topics, but I think these are episodes in and of themselves. He's asking for more information regarding Shriners, maybe an episode about the P2 Lodge or the scandal that went on with the P2 Lodge. I believe that was in Italy. I think that was in Italy.
Too. I mean, we easily get a Shriner in here. I mean, we know many a Shriner.
Yeah, I think we can definitely do that.
What's
But
that in
those are
Yeah,
topics
why is it-
I'll
unto
tell you why.
themselves.
Get that out of here.
I'll tell you why in a minute.
There's a
I'll
shock
tell you why.
collar floating around here for some reason.
Yeah, why are you bringing that even near me?
I don't want it in here. I don't like it.
I know.
It's not my friend. No.
Okay. George brought the shock
That's what I'm saying. I
collar.
don't trust anybody in this room.
I'm gonna look at George and just be like,
Are we live? We're
Right,
live.
yeah,
We're
I mean,
live. We're definitely live.
We're in the middle of a.
We're recording. And he's twiddling around with a shot collar.
Wait,
you guys.
He's giving it to Rocco.
See, look.
Wait, I got a joke.
Jim Trensky said that if somebody doesn't talk into the mic, I am to whack them. So the shot collar is up in my hand.
Going straight.
I
Jim.
say comments. The best comment. Is,
But last time,
I see a lot of people not talking into a mic right now.
Hi, Jim.
Hey, what does George call
Jim.
Shriner's car?
I don't know what.
A luxury sedan. Ah! Get it? He's small.
Oh my god. So anyway,
He's small.
our
SML.
friend on
I got it.
our friend on Discord, brother Mark here,
All right.
asked tonight. I want to know who is the better marksman.
Oh, the better
Next
marks.
question to come in.
What
For
are we
who?
shooting?
Like, out of everyone, or
Out of those of us here, I would imagine.
yeah, I'm not going to claim really high. It's been a long time since I actually held a rifle.
I think it depends on what we're shooting
Yeah. What's the caliber?
and who's
Again,
pick
whose
one.
firearm.
I when I was in the Marine Corps, I shot the M16, which fired a 223 or a 5.56 if you want to go with a NATO round, and I shot sharpshooter. So
You know what we should do? We
not
should all-
expert. I shot sharpshooter. In my defense, there was an inbound hurricane. Leaving it at that.
Okay. Well, so that we're comparing apples to apples and not apples to oranges, I think we should all get together on my range one of these days.
Okay.
That
Bring out a
sounds-
few ARs
yeah,
and let's
like
see who can do their best at 100 yards.
I'm fine with that. 100
And-
yards.
Then maybe
Let's make it
record
two.
it.
Yards is
Let's
far
make it
either,
two.
Yeah.
Well,
Let's make it two.
my club only goes out to 100 yards.
Okay.
We could bring the
Connecticut,
shot
yeah.
collar. Whoever misses farthest gets shot.
I think that would
I think that would be good.
That would
I
be
think that would be good.
shocking. No,
That would
I
be
don't
Maybe
know.
we'll go
Great.
Facebook Live too.
not with
I was
firearms.
gonna say
in your
shot,
hand. It would
shot
have to be
collars and
But
firearms
you-
does
you
not sound
Walk
like a good
away from
combo.
the firearm.
put the firearm down, walk away, and take your
take your
zap,
shot.
take your pain.
Where's that shot collar? You got it. I don't.
I don't trust you.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
All right, Mark. So we're going to put this together. We're going to make it happen. We're going to get out on the range and we're going to
Is
see
your
who the
next
better
live
marksman is.
video
Yep.
as or a private Patreon.
It'll probably have to be a recording. I don't know that we want to go live with that one.
No, I
We'll-
agree.
we'll
with
think
you.
about it.
Not
Prongs
being
on 'em.
live, but at least a nice Patreon or
Yeah.
something like that.
Can I wear my
That'd be some
chaps?
good content.
Yes.
Yes, Puppet George, you can wear your chaps. I don't know why you would want to do that at a firing range.
Because we're
It helps.
shooting. Like
All right.
cowboys.
Accuracy.
What else we got?
Cowboys.
Let's keep it going because we got
So that
questions
was
just
Mark. That was
firing in
great.
here.
Let's see. He thought that you would say you right off the bat as far as who's
Ah.
the better marksman.
It's been a while since I've shot. All true and honestly, you shoot on a more frequent basis, so I don't know.
Well,
Might have to knock some dust off the bottle on that one.
I don't shoot 223, 5.56 that often. So.
Gideon did say make it a live. He just said make it a live video. Haha.
Cephas 1999.
Okay. Oh, that's Peter Daigle.
Peter Daigle. Duh. All right. So Peter asked on Discord earlier tonight, how does being a Mason affect your family and friendship commitments? Which I thought was a great
Do
question.
we want to go around the room with this one?
How about we just point? Ken, pick two people.
Oh my gosh.
Just two, 'cause we got a lot of
random.
questions.
Completely
At
at random. Joe and Dan.
Which,
Sharkus.
Yeah.
I defer to you first. Go right ahead.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I'm not a married man, so my home life.
I can
is
see
pretty
why.
much-
In this country.
thanks, puppet. But so my home life is pretty much what I want it to be. As with friends, I don't know. You plan things accordingly, I guess, is the easiest you could say. I mean, I'm quite involved right now, especially with the Grand Lodge activities that I'm involved in. So that takes up more time than norm. But it definitely will take a toll. I mean, I could see on the brothers who are married or have children, it could take much more of a toll than would on me. Joe?
Well, it 90% of my family and friends are very supportive of it, and obviously I have a lot of friends that are Masons, so it's kind of easy with them. And the ones that aren't are kind of intrigued by it, whether it's a curiosity or just making jokes about me being a Mason, and all kinds of fun stuff. It's all about that 24-inch gauge, balancing your time, make sure you're leaving time for family, friends, as well as your usual vocation and refreshment, which can often bleed over to your time with your family and friends. So I I'd say it's only positive. The first thing what I thought of when you asked that question is how has it impacted the relationships? I think my bonds with people are stronger now because if I give somebody my word, that means a lot more than it did to me before I was amazed.
I'm going to jump in here real quick after that question. I'm just going to answer some of the questions that are quickly I can answer. Joseph Schultz, have you gotten any negative feedback or harsh criticism of the podcast? Yes. A resounding yes. Maybe a little. We've gotten good and bad. It's not all bad. One of the things that you probably noticed, we've gotten much better with the language. Our first episodes were pretty harsh. We've gotten better with the language. That was one of the things. And that's pretty much it. I mean, realistically, it was really the language and stuff. But we've toned it down. We've gotten, again, we were in our very infantile stage. But, yes, we have gotten negative, and I'm sure at some point there's more negative criticism. However, I do got to give shout out to our Grand Lodge. They helped us out. They got our backs. So they support us. So that's a good thing. End of the toast. Jim Trensky, I think you're meaning the 3 claps are usually given by grand honors.
You might be talking about Vivat.
No,
And Vivat means live long or long life, depending on what language you're looking at.
French, yes.
French. Vivat is
Latin.
French. Vivat is French. Viva is Spanish. So pretty much the same thing.
Which is live, to live.
To live, basically. What topic is too controversial? I don't know. We haven't got there yet.
We've covered quite a few.
We've covered quite a few of them that we had to trudge in the mud a little bit and tiptoe. And
the last podcast.
where's that shot collar? Give him the shot collar. Give him the shot collar.
I'm not holding that thing.
But you know,
that thing is nothing.
I got it on
When get
100
shot
right
down
now.
on a regular-
Got it on
I would
100.
Still eat that like it's seriously though, I think the firearm was one of the
Yes.
more
Mhm.
controversial ones, and I think we actually handled that
Mhm.
very well without getting into the politics behind it.
Yeah. No, that was
nobody's kicked the door to the lodge down while we're recording yet, so I don't think we've gone too controversial.
Yeah, we haven't gone
until
too
that
crazy.
happens.
We do have people in our Grand Lodge that are monitoring, what we say and what we do. Not in a over the head type. They're standing in the corner staring at us, but they listen in. They make sure that we're not getting too crazy and doing crazy things. But I think we know for the most part to keep it within due bounds. So let's see here. What else you got, Ken? How tall am I, Diana? I am 5'7".
Lies.
Laura asked, "Why can't Daniel grow a real beard?" I'm not sure which Daniel she's talking about.
She's talking about her.
Maybe she's comparing you to that.
Obviously not talking about
Discuss.
Yeah, no, she's obviously not talking about it. I'm going to say inheritance. I don't know. My father can't grow a beard either, so
Okay.
I've tried. Trust me, it's not a good look. It's not a good look when I try.
So this is your good luck?
Yeah, no.
What else you got,
Isn't
Ken?
it either.
Gideon Buckelman says, hold on. Hold on. I lost it, my scroll bar. He said, "What's up, my overseas friends?" which is technically a question.
Okay. Yeah.
What's up?
Get in?
Nothing much.
He made a bunch
Little
of
humid.
comments, too.
Just,
Living the life.
in
Living
a
the
room,
dream.
snuggled up with my best buddies.
To Puppet George's comment earlier, he definitely said that he is the little dyke boy, or the little Dutch boy with his finger in the dike.
We talked about what the dike was.
He
All right.
definitely commented towards you. He also said,
Joseph Schultz had the question on there. What person would each of you like to raise to Master Mason, including Puppet George? I don't know what they mean. Like, out of anybody, who would we
Out of
want to?
anybody, or you mean like somebody that we'd want to raise?
Yeah, I don't know. That's
Puppet George is not in that argument, by the way. I would not want to raise Puppet George.
so. Joseph, if you could clarify, we don't know what that means.
Stephanie writes, "What has been the biggest highlight of your Masonic career so far?" Ken, pick 2 people.
Highlight of the Masonic career. Who do we want to hear from? Let's see. Let's go with Brother Daniel,
Okay.
Brother Rocco.
All right.
Talking
to the mic.
I'll say the highlight of my career has probably been a combination of two things. One would be as high as I got in this in the chairs, which I chose to kind of bow out when I got to the point. I got to senior deacon, and just making our lodge tends to go with a succession through the chairs, and just making it through the chairs themselves, and actually getting a chance to get as high as senior deacon. I had a couple of personal things that I bowed out after I got to senior deacon, but just sitting in the chairs and making it through the line would be one. And the other one would definitely be all of the kind of extracurricular activities like this, going to different degrees, going to different lodges, just traveling as a Mason is what I would consider it. Because like Masonicon was amazing. Traveling to different lodges and seeing especially like older lodges, like Naugatuck has an older lodge room, and seeing older lodges and things like that, seeing older buildings. Traveling as a Mason would definitely be my second one.
Rocco.
I don't know. Highlight, I guess as I was junior, sitting as master, which was really nice. But I wouldn't, also just the friendships and the camaraderie from other brothers. I mean, that's the highlight for me, is that I have people and brothers that I can rely on when things get rough. They're there. So that's kind of the highlight for me. And things, in the past have gotten rough, and my brothers have been there. So that's it.
Gideon has a good one. How would you normally react when people are giving you negative reaction when they find out you're a Mason? So if somebody was to give you a negative reaction as you're a Mason, how would your reaction be to it? So if somebody starts heckling you if somebody starts heckling you on the street, Worship Brother Ken, like Carly Franz is like, you're in that babysitter guild, I know about you guys.
While it's never actually happened to me, and while one really never knows how one would react until they're in that type of situation,
true.
If I had to speculate on it, I would say I would just walk away.
Me as well.
Right? I'm not a big fan of conflict.
I've had one small reaction that was negative, but it wasn't over the top like what he's describing. And it was definitely you guys are, and it was something along the lines of, I just watched the conspiracy video on this, and you guys are a conspiracy. And I did exactly what you said. You that's not what we're really about. If you'd like to know, I'll explain to you what it is. And they wanted nothing to do with the facts. So I basically, that's not what we're going to talk about.
If somebody wants to live in their own insular little world, if they want to debate it and talk about it, then cool. I would absolutely defend the fraternity to them. But if they want to live in their own insular world and they don't want to hear anything you have to say, I'd rather just walk away.
It's pretty much.
It's in one of our charges.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Pretty much.
It's one of these where
you guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
See, I think it really depends on how somebody comes at you. If they come at you like a Carly Franz or somebody crazy like that. I've had one situation like that.
Really?
I just looked at him where I said, if you truly believe all of that, you really want to pick a fight with me.
Right. So what would Puppet George say?
We're really going to ask that?
Why not?
Puppet George would probably not handle it as well as anybody else has. And he'd probably use some words that I don't know that he's okay to say right now. But
all right.
Tell Carly I'll be over Saturday. You need to watch your kids.
Whoa. She's not here right now.
Hi, Carly.
All right. So Joseph Schultz replied, and he said, any Freemason, or anyone famous, anybody who would be the hero of you to raise. We'll go around the table for this. We'll start down there, and we'll go all the way around it.
What was the question? Who would
you want to raise? A hero of yours that you yourself would want to raise to the sublime degree of a Master Mason? What's your brother Dan?
It's a tough one. I was there when you were raised, Ken.
Yeah.
I can't, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think I actually raised you.
But I am your hero,
Yeah.
aren't I?
Yeah, sometimes.
Sing it, Puppet George.
Actually, you know what? I think my grandfather, my dad's dad. My mom's dad was, very influential in the Freemason community, but my dad's dad wasn't. Not that he wasn't interested, he just never was around, and he's gone now. And I think that would be, that would be interesting for me to have him around more and hang with him. I think
Very cool.
That would be my pick.
It's a good one. What about you?
Honestly, it would be I would have to say one of the male figures in my family, not to piggyback, but I was thinking like it would be definitely my father or one of my grandparents or my grandfathers, just because I am the first Mason.
Mm-hmm.
My father showed interest, but hasn't really been interested in actually joining. And it's just something that I love the fact that a lot of Masons, it's a lineage thing. And if I have, a son, I would definitely, try to incorporate it and amp it up as big as I could. And I would love to have some of my older male figures in my family be Masons. And not for nothing, Ken, I love the fact that you said your son came to one of your Mason events, and it was one of the proudest moments that he chose your Mason event to go to instead of something else. And
over an amusement park.
Yeah, and I remember you saying that, and I remember how proud you were of it, and I think that's a really cool aspect of it, of the family line of Masons.
Rocco.
Probably be mine.
Ken's son had his first soda that day, by the way.
Oh, he's bouncing off walls.
I have no idea who gave it to him. I still haven't identified the culprit.
He hasn't slept in 3 days.
Brother Rocco.
I'm going to pick Bernie Sanders.
All right.
Wow.
All right.
Not because I like him.
Because?
Because he's famous, and I would like to see him raised, because I think that half-an-hour conversation afterwards would be awesome. That's all.
That's interesting.
I don't believe he'd get back up.
No,
It's just
I don't
me.
think he would get back up. But that's the guy.
Brother
I
Ken.
know.
What's for Brother Ken?
Okay, so, I would have to, if I could raise anybody, it would probably be one of my sons. But if we had to go with someone famous, what are you doing with your glasses over there?
My head hurts. Why are you worried about me?
If I had to go with what Joseph Schultz was saying, anybody famous,
Gideon?
I would have to say, that would be a lot of fun. Gideon
yeah.
for sure. But I'd have to say Nikola Tesla.
Nikola Tesla.
Always
All
been
right.
a big
That's
fan
a
of Tesla.
good one.
The man wasn't a
That's
Mason.
a good one.
I can't imagine what his life would. Obviously, he's a character from history. He's passed now, but I can't imagine what else additional he would have accomplished had he been a Mason. So I think that would have been.
What's for Brother Joe?
Race.
I would have to pick.
Me.
No, not you. I would have to pick my older brother if he were ever to decide to join the fraternity.
Mhm.
He's done a lot for me over the years.
Wait.
And
Wait, is it possible you have an older brother?
yes, I have an older brother.
Does he look younger than you?
I have a shorter brother, too. He's sitting to my right.
Continue, Joe. I'm sorry.
No, it's
You left the door wide open. I had to
okay.
kick it in. I get
Okay,
few
Papa
opportunities.
George still gets a turn. But he's done so much for me over my life that if there was something he ever got into, he was probably my first hero growing up. So I would probably pick him.
Very nice.
Do I get to go?
Yes, Papa George, go ahead.
I would raise you
Why would you raise me?
about 6 inches so you could see above the shelf.
That was awesome.
Very nicely done. Very nicely done. Mine.
Maybe 8 inches. Because you're small.
Can I go now, Papa George? Okay. Two things, as Ken said. One of the things I would absolutely want, I would love to see be raised to a sublime degree of a Master Mason would be obviously my sons. One of them was sitting over there in the corner. I'd love for him to join this, and I'd love to be the one to raise him, as well as my other two. But if I was to pick somebody famous, I would go with Gary Sinise. I would go with Gary Sinise because he has the Gary Sinise Foundation where he raises all kinds of money for veterans and stuff like that. Very honorable person. And or I would like to raise Keanu Reeves. He is one.
That'd be
Wow.
cool.
That'd be really cool.
Good pick.
Can I
He's
change
one.
one?
Yeah, I know. Good pick.
He's one of the most humble actors, people on the planet, and I absolutely would love to do that. That would be my pick.
I think you got a lot of likes out of that.
Yeah, I was
one.
gonna say, yeah, you're
So,
definitely.
saw it
Yeah,
blow up.
that was a good
Yeah,
pick.
I seen that. That flew off. So, anyway, I'm gonna look at my phone because Ken, you got something else?
Yeah, let's see. Diana asks, when are you having the Battle of the Masters?
Ooh.
Didn't we already do that once?
We did, and I won.
Well, so we need a rematch because Joe thinks he won.
Do you want me to retire
No.
so that you guys have a chance? Because
I think if we're gonna do Battle of the
You would be the
Masters,
defending champion. What do you mean?
I think if we're gonna do Battle of the
the
Masters,
retired champ like Rocky Marciano.
I think we need to do it in like a 3-part category. One of them would be best insults,
You're gonna have a Battle of
Marksmanship.
the Masters based on insults.
marksmanship.
Yeah.
Weightlifting.
Oh, come on.
Oh.
Like a
Wait,
battle
Why
of
not?
the
If you're
Masters,
gonna
like
do it, go
a
big.
triathlon.
I like that one,
Look at
actually.
Ken's arms; he'll snap at the
You know,
elbow.
spindly little, look, skinny guys fight until they're ragged, just so you know.
Yeah, like little
I wanna see-
chihuahuas.
I want to see Ken under 315 on the bench.
Oh my.
And I
Will you
think
spot me?
we need to do a
Always,
round.
Ken.
I think we need to do a round of Masonic shot collar trivia for that
No,
one on
I'm
level
out, because on every
100.
last two times
That's
I've
why
been-
you already lost, Dan. He said no.
The last 2 times I've been here, there's been shot collar bullshit.
Because all he does
Oh,
when he
let's
gets the remote
see.
is start sacking.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see.
Which is
We've
why
got
George shouldn't host.
we've got a
Shot
question
collar
from
anything.
No.
we got a
Sorry,
question
go
from
ahead.
Raph here.
All right, Red.
Uh-oh, Raph.
Raph is asking how long till the co-hosts of the show join MSL?
Yeah.
Morningstar Live.
Actually, Warsaw Brother Joe already has his
My petition is in.
his affiliation papers are already in. We're just waiting for it not to be
Yeah,
summertime.
you got it.
Brother Raph, I don't know who the hell your secretary is, but I haven't seen a petition. And I've been asking for months. So
such a crop.
I leave it up to you.
Guarantee your brother Ralph definitely sympathizes with you.
Anyway, next question. This is actually from Peyton Pringle, brother Peyton Pringle.
Great chips.
That's what I was going for.
He writes, "Hello, brother. I have a question I want to ask for Thursday's podcast. So this is obviously on Tuesday. In case I'm not in tune for the Facebook Live, what is everyone's most embarrassing moment, either in lodge or at a Masonic sponsored event?" Brother Joe, you lead it.
Embarrassing
Most
moment.
As
embarrassing
Ken
moment.
leans into the microphone.
Wow.
Oh, okay, you were. I'm sorry.
If you have something,
You
go
damn
ahead.
near-
No,
it
I
was
was just going to ask for
it was just pretty
clarification.
funny, yeah.
So,
In other words, something that's-
inside lodge or at a Masonic event.
Yes,
Those are-
inside lodge or at a Masonic event, and it can either be embarrassing funny or embarrassing as in like, oh, I'm completely embarrassed and I want to just crawl in a hole right now. Your choice.
I honestly can't think of one. I really,
You've
really
never been
can't off the
embarrassed
top-
in lodge at all?
No, because I have a very high opinion of myself.
Good for you. I'm not mad at that answer. I'll respect that answer. Yeah.
Is this you speaking or?
Yeah,
Papa
Papa George. Yeah.
No, it's Puppet George. No, it's me. It's me. I
Voice got a
honestly.
little gravelly.
Actually, no, I take that back. I can remember one. It was last year, past master's degree. And the outgoing master was that it's tradition in our lodge that the outgoing master does the past master's degree.
Right.
And he hadn't done his homework. And another brother, past district deputy, we know how those guys can be, just started lighting him up in front of the room.
Wasn't me.
It wasn't you.
Wasn't me.
And I lost my temper bad because as a past master, I like to offer counsel, help them,
Right.
not make them feel like a piece of crap 10
Right.
minutes before we start the degree and throw the guy off.
Right.
So
Was there
I
a live
actually-
candidate?
Yeah, he was. Well, he wasn't there. He wasn't in the room at the time. This was like a quick run through, like 10 minutes before we started,
What's up, Brother Joe?
and I lost it. I looked because it was one of those things. It was a rough week, and I just lost it in front of everybody and stormed out of the building.
Yeah, it's a
And it's like
a tough one.
I need to go back in.
yeah.
I mean, I still felt how I felt, but I spoke to that past DD that I lit up and said, hey, I apologize to him, then I apologize to everybody that witnessed it. But it was not a proud moment. I wouldn't say it was I wouldn't necessarily say embarrassing, but it certainly was my least proud moment.
Sometimes eating crow tastes exactly like shit.
Yeah, it does. But I had to. If I believe.
No, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I did what I got mad at him for doing.
Right. Yeah.
And then when I realized that, I'm like, I got to go back in and make it better.
Just basically doing the same thing he did, just
right.
changing gears on
Exactly.
the other person. Worship Brother Ken, what do you got? Most embarrassing.
Oh, I've been trying to think hard on this, and I haven't run into too many incidences where I was truly embarrassed in Lodge. I do remember there were probably worse times than this, but I do remember one time when I was, I believe, it must have been senior deacon, because that's the only part that I can remember where you knock with the staff. But I believe I was senior deacon, which was only a couple of years ago. My hands were so sweaty during a degree that I knocked twice. The rod slipped out of my hand and hit the floor. And the master just kind of stared at me.
Who was the? It wasn't me, was it?
I don't think it was you. No, because you were. No, it would have been. When I was senior deacon. It was Hal, I think.
Hal.
I believe it was Hal.
What's your brother
I
Hal?
was out of there by then.
Wait.
Oh,
so
that
your
doesn't sound
staff
right.
Slipped out of your hand.
Yeah, my staff slipped out of my hand. It wasn't senior deacon. I can't remember what chair I was in, but I was definitely in an officer's chair at that point. Because Hal wouldn't have done that to me.
Or like a
No.
baton.
Like a baton.
That's all I got. It's not that good. Hope you got something better. I'm sure.
Brother Rocco.
Well, when in the beginning, when I started learning all the lectures and doing lectures, I started getting a little bit ahead of myself. I would learn the EA, and then I was pretty confident with the EA. But then once I started Fellowcraft and Master, I lose things or mix them up. And just that moment when you're sitting there stumbling, not knowing what to say, it can be embarrassing. But what's interesting about it, it doesn't really, I don't see that as a highlight, like, oh, that's the most embarrassing moment, because they're teachable moments. They're things that I learned from. But yeah, there is a level of embarrassment. It's not like, you feel great because you missed a bunch of stuff.
Right.
So that's it.
Brother Dan.
I got a few. Yeah, I got a few. I'll start with my least entertaining one, is what I'll say. And it was my senior deacon, and we were getting inspection on my senior deacon, and I ended up having to leave for the second half. But I did the first half, and I fumbled through the entire thing to the point where I was so nervous and everything else and I will say Chip was inspecting us.
Yep.
And he literally pulled me to the side and was like, I'm going to be honest with you. Calm down. You're so nervous and it shows. Please. And we didn't even have a real candidate. We had one of the brothers walking through just for the inspection.
Yeah.
And I was so nervous. Purple was in the room. I was
Do you know who that person was?
prepared. Who was actually
it was Seth. That was the.
Was it that was walking
It was
through?
Seth. So that's why when I was about to say dummy candidate, I really actually meant
Yeah, dummy candidate. Yeah, that figures. Yeah,
Next
no,
time,
it's Seth.
try talking with your hands.
Yeah. Anyway, that was probably my most embarrassing. Like, realistically, I was personally embarrassed by the whole experience. The next one, which Dan can actually vouch for, was when I went through my Master Mason. You obviously undressed to a certain extent.
Right.
I had at the time
Banana hammock.
a Tigger tattoo
Oh,
on my
yes,
arm,
the Tigger.
and the only thing I had on my arm was Tigger. And I kid you not, at least 10 different people, and I'm still remembered to this day. Oh, you went through you're the one with the Tigger tattoo, right? And mind you, now it's a full sleeve. It's not just Tigger anymore, but it used to be just Tigger. And when I went through my Master Mason,
I mean, it's just got some grass and stuff. Oh, okay.
it
There's some
was
more
just-
So now you have kangaroo
and
rule.
now it's like a full
Now you've got two
big-
tigers and
it's actually
then
three,
a
it
couple
goes into a
tigers
real
and some
tiger,
grass
yeah,
and
it's
okay.
big. It's a big piece now.
It's like
but it
Lion
used to
King.
be just Tigger.
A big piece on a big piece.
And that would be one of my more insane. The other one I will claim is during one of my degrees when I was sitting listening to the lecture back and forth, it would be Worshipful Brother Ryan.
Yeah.
Mason trees.
Mason
There's
trees.
a part
Super
of
butterflies.
Super butterflies and mason trees. And during the actual
Agent
lecture,
47 joins
he
us.
absolutely said,
What's up, brother
mason
Rob?
trees, and there's superfluities is the word, and I will never forget. He said super butterflies.
I thought that was
looked at
George
me.
that messed those.
No, that was
I said
that was
mason
Ryan.
trees.
Yeah.
I didn't mess up
No,
anything.
you
I
did
did.
the
I did
mason
it
tree.
well before all these guys came.
Yeah.
I said masonry
The
and
super butterflies. were
a,
Ryan, though, was the
now
other one.
most worshipful brother Marsha Robinson, who was at the time my district deputy, had made a mention about I got to go home and water my mason tree. So I caught hell for that one.
But
Worship Brother Dan,
go ahead.
most embarrassing moment.
I think for me, I mean, I think my year as master, I did 2 years in a row because one of our brothers moved down south. But the first year I was in the master's chair, we did a Scotch and cigar night. And it was quite poorly attended. And we bought a significant amount of Scotch and cigars. And
Oh wait, I know where you're going with this one.
and I had to sit in the East and vote for the expenditures of that evening. And we brought up the many hundreds of dollars for the not many hundreds of dollars that we brought in for ticket sales. And, it just kind of crickets in the lodge room.
Well, you started off with the bill for the cigars.
And then everybody was like, oh, that's kind of high, whatever. And then I'm like, and then
There's
there's
more.
the Scotch.
Hold on a minute. Here's the pipe bomb.
So that was kind of nerve wracking and embarrassing. And then
I did vote in favor.
Yeah, I mean
So,
everybody did. We got it passed. I
So-
think this one didn't involve me, but I don't remember what chair I was in, and we were getting ready to do a degree. It was EA, and they come running out to me and they said, "We have an issue." I'm like, "Okay." So I go in the back, and there's a man standing there with nothing on.
He's no underwear.
And I was like, what's going on here? And they're like, he's like, he didn't wear underwear. And I was like, all right, buddy, put your regular pants on. Let's roll some cuffs up.
Oh my
But
god.
yeah, that was,
But that's kind
I
of
think
what-
it was embarrassing
I was
for
thinking-
everybody
Yeah,
in the situation.
right.
I was thinking something similar. It's like
That's actually pretty funny, and I never would have thought to an apprentice. I would never think to say, "Hey, if you
Make
wear the
underwear.
suit, don't go commando."
Right.
Like I would never think.
Yeah, I mean,
Not something.
It's been told to me a couple times. Don't make sure you're wearing.
I
with
wasn't-
like dress
I wasn't
pants on,
warned.
why would you ever
Right, but
think,
if
I
told you, make sure
no
you're wearing
underwear.
clean.
Let's
I mean,
underwear.
and like
assuming that you're
walking
going to
in-
have some on.
walking
Yeah,
into
and
the
it's your own
preparation
suit.
room, the man had no pants on. So I was like, what was in everybody's head? Like,
It's like, Danny, come back here. We
right,
got a
everybody
question
else,
for you.
Dan, come in here and look at this. No, I don't need
Hey, it
to.
could have been worse. He could have had a Prince Albert. Just throwing it out there.
I just,
That's
My
actually-
most
Pretty
important,
good one.
my
Yeah,
most
that was-
embarrassing one, I would have to say, was actually at your lodge, Harmony 42. It was asked if they were looking for people to help out with a Master Mason degree. It was either Liberty Continental or if it was Harmony 42, but I remember being there. I remember being second ruffian, and I remember actually learning this part, and I've never done second ruffian. I've always done third. I love third. But I've never
My
done
first.
second. What?
You're my first.
I'm fine with that. That's the easy one.
Well, I sent you the additional part the other day. Check
What
your email.
additional part?
We do the whole Legend of Hiram. You have more than just the standard in the book.
Killing me, Smalls. You didn't say that. Never mind. Call up Shane again. I'm done.
Not too bad you're in.
Not sure how I feel about Joe
What?
saying that you're his first. Just throwing that out there.
Well played. Well, very well played from the other end of the table. But anyway, getting back on it, my most embarrassing one would have to be I was at Harmony 42, second ruffian, knew it word perfect until I seen a certain brother who eventually became a most worshipful, whom slightly intimidates me a hair. MKR.
yeah.
And he was in the East, and here I come. My part comes up, and I did my part. I started off, and brain melt, complete meltdown. Forgot my entire part. And the worst part is, I did it 3 times for 3 different candidates, and Dan knows as well as anybody else. I do not miss
you're
anything.
Not that person.
So when I missed 3 times consecutive, and he actually was up there and went. And
how long?
I got the look. I got the leg slap. I got the feeling of disgust. And
How long ago was this?
This is going back before I was the DD.
Oh, so you're going back years.
I'm going back years.
Was
Okay.
it-
And I was.
Much before my time.
It was a while ago.
I must have been. I mean,
I was a past master, but I was not yet district deputy yet.
because for 10 years, I've
So
been first ruffian. So I mean, I must have been there maybe. I mean, again,
it could have been Liberty Continental, but anyway, he was there regardless, and I remember that, and that was the most embarrassed I've ever been. And it was a packed house too, if I remember. It was wall to wall Masons, and that was a very embarrassing.
That was actually, what I will say, that was a great question.
Yes, it was.
Yeah,
That was a good question.
So here's what we're gonna
There's a lot
do.
of Good stories.
We're gonna
That
keep the
type of
live
question.
going. We're gonna keep the live going. We're gonna take a short commercial
I was actually
break
wondering when you were
for our podcast commercial. However, as always, Worshipful Brother Joe usually sings an interlude, but I'm going to leave it up to the 11 people listening and watching right now that you can either ask Puppet George questions, and I will turn my computer so he can see them, and he can read the questions and answer them.
Actually, if you look at it, Gideon's got a lot of good comments that I wanted to bring up
So I'm
in the
You do it after the
Facebook.
break.
That's
Yeah.
good right there, right? Yep. All right. So we're going to take a quick pause, and we will be back.
So you can either pick the song or ask Puppet George a question.
Sorry.
And by the way, just so that September 14th doesn't become your most embarrassing moment, the entire Grand Line is going to be at the Farm to Grand. We're expecting over 100 people.
I'm ready for it.
But we would but definitely take a look at that additional thing that I shot.
Will do.
I actually like that last question a lot.
I think Marty was on there for a little while.
Oh, he was?
Yeah,
Oh, I didn't say.
I don't know.
So
if he
no
commented,
questions
but it
yet,
says
so I
it
guess
was
we're
on
going music.
But no question.
No questions for Puppet George yet.
Come
so
on,
then I
ask
have to
Puppet
do-
George, Dan. You
Oh,
big
yeah,
ass.
ask
Right
Puppet George
in the
the
way.
best.
You really don't want to hear me sing, do you?
I do. I kind of do.
What do you want?
I love hearing
What do you
you
want?
sing.
Little Moon River? I can do Little Moon River. Moon River.
I don't know. Name an artist. Let me see if I get some. What do you got?
Oh,
No, just
I
start singing.
I
don't
can
even
do.
care. Go
What do you want? You want Barry Manilow? You want a little Neil Diamond? What do you want?
Let's go some Neil Diamond. Neil Diamond will be
Yeah,
good.
let's
Well,
go
little
Neil.
Neil.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's bad.
Dear Puppet George, do you sleep under George's pillow?
No, I sleep under Worshipful Brother Joe's bed.
I forgot, Joe. Got to keep.
Oh, because it keeps scrolling down.
Yeah. Oh, here we go.
George, whose hand do you prefer?
Dan, you gotta have to read it for him because it won't scroll down automatically.
Puppet George, whose hand do you prefer?
Whose hand do I prefer? Ultimately, I've got to say right Worshipful Brother George because his hands are really small.
Puppet George, who is your favorite person in the room?
Me!
That was kind of an obvious.
What else you got?
Nothing yet. Wait.
Has he sung it?
Let's go.
Come on,
Bring some more questions in here.
Neil Diamond request, but
Do some Sinatra.
Hello again. Hello. That's Neil Diamond.
I know.
Just called to say, love ya.
Doesn't sound right.
Oh no.
Is Neil Diamond?
Yes.
Yeah. It is.
What do you want? A little crackling rosy get on board?
Do Mr.
You
Rogers.
got to do more radio
the-
friendly. Radio friendly.
Yeah.
Turn on your heart light. Let it shine wherever you go. Let it make a happy glow
You guys better start asking some questions.
for all the world to see.
Oh, there's a request for Puppet George to do a commercial.
All right.
That's not a bad request.
What, a Real Brothers of Genius commercial?
Was it a Real
Puppet
Brothers of
George.
Real Brothers of Genius show or?
Maybe we'll record one afterward.
As his agent, I think we can arrange that.
I think this is easy.
Oh, you're the official
And
agent.
the bloopers,
Yeah.
the bloopers would be hilarious.
Oh my god. Oh yes, we'll do a whole blooper reel.
George, if you don't get it back,
What else do we want?
Play some music, you big dummy.
Yeah, yep. Brother Brother Joe says yes to do a Real Brothers of Genius commercial.
All right.
We can do that. What else?
Wait, what part does he want
Yeah,
Papa
which
George
part
to
does
do
he
though?
want his Papa
Yeah,
George?
Joe, do you
part?
want him to do
Or
the
the singing?
talking or the singing? I'm gonna go talking. I mean, that's what I would guess.
I'm thinking the talking. You could have a little more fun with that.
Singing, he already has a high voice.
It might actually really help. Like, it might be funny to actually bleep it out. That might actually get really fun.
Oh, here we go. If Puppet George could drive a car, would it be a Prius?
Oh,
Who asked that?
Diana.
It's a Mazda Miata.
I'm going to refrain from answering that one. A Prius. Are you kidding me? Rocco would drive a Prius. He loves that Bernie Sanders guy. A Prius is like an Escalade for George, though.
That's rough. That's rough. Yeah, Joseph says the talking part of the commercial for
You know what's not rough?
what?
Dan's cheeks, because he can't grow a freaking beard.
no, they're scruffy. I look like a bum. Like a bum if I even attempt it.
Next question.
Yeah.
What is Puppet George's favorite movie?
Fraggle Rock.
The Muppets Take Manhattan.
Yeah.
All right.
Well played.
That was good.
Miss Piggy's quite a dish.
You think you could take Kermit in a fight?
Kermit the Frog?
Yeah.
Are you
Yeah.
freaking kidding me? He's a frog. You feeling froggy? Jump. And red after I bloody your freaking nose. Kermit. Next thing you know, you're going to ask me if I can beat up Fraggle Rock.
Do you prefer Bert or Ernie? Is the next question that came up here.
I'm definitely an Ernie guy.
Ernie guy. All right. How come?
Small, like George.
I didn't know Bert was taller. I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah.
I know their names.
I believe.
Bert's taller.
But I'm an Ernie guy.
Confirmed.
I already say we go back live again.
So let me ask the listeners a question. What puppet do you want me to see kick their ass? I'll take them all on.
I would have went with a Chucky doll.
That's a rough.
That is a rough one because it was a prior podcast.
The two kid puppets from Labyrinth.
Oh.
Beat them down. I hate those little bastards.
Raggedy
out,
Ann.
George.
I'd like you to see take Raggedy Ann on. She always freaked me out.
Nah.
That's Joe's sister.
Then there'd be two gingers in the room.
We already got two.
I'm sorry, Dark Crystal, not Labyrinth. Dark Crystal.
Elmo. They want to see you take on Elmo, apparently.
Oh, I'll get that little
I think
guy.
the two rats from Muppets in Manhattan.
Yeah.
The little rats.
No, that's my favorite movie. What's his name? Rizzo?
Yeah. He knows it by heart.
Rocco! All those little rats.
Rizzo and Rocco.
Oh God.
My next
Don't forget my
podcast.
favorite rat, Sammy the Bull.
My next podcast.
What? He's a rat.
Too soon.
Too soon?
Great.
My bad.
Well played.
Now we're gonna have all of freaking Dan's friends up here beating us up. Yeah, that was Italian crack.
Okay, I didn't catch that at first.
All right, you're slow. That's all right.
A lot of questions here.
We're gonna go back live again.
No more Puppet George questions. We're good.
I think we're all back in our seats.
We're back on stage, all right?
All right.
So,
fire off some more questions.
If you're watching live, fire off some more questions because we got another couple more minutes of this, and then we're gonna shut it down. So, fire them in while you got a chance.
Otherwise, I sing.
And
Raph has another good one. here.
we are live. We are back. We took our little break. I hope you enjoyed their commercial. And is any of you guys guilty of the commercial? I got 4.
Guilty of the commercial. I forget what we
I got-
recorded
I got-
already.
yeah.
Oh, the car. Yeah. In my last
Cop Buster and
car.
Lodge?
That
On
was
my last car, I had a little bit too much.
It was this
The
Brother-
decals. Yeah.
Car decal.
dark
decals.
car
I'm
decal
really
guy.
embarrassed about my
George,
car
you're
decal.
definitely guilty.
I got
Yeah.
4. I like a 4.
Yeah, but 4.
I got
It's more than 3 more than that.
I got Blue Lodge, I got Passmaster, I got York Right and Scottish Right.
I
Ain't
passed
that
you on the
bad.
highway one time.
I've
The
only
reason
got
I
one.
knew, I was like, there are a lot of Masonic. And this is before I knew what you drove. I was like, there are a lot of Masonic. And I passed you. I was like, oh my God, that was George.
Yeah.
That's why I knew.
So why don't we go around the table and you guys can say what you got in your car?
What do you got in your car? What kind of logos? What kind of decals you got in the back of your car?
Masonic or unmasonic?
Which
Masonic.
way are we starting? Which way are we
Not
starting?
not Shop Right, York Right,
Yeah.
Scottish Right.
Which way are we starting on this? This side or that side?
We'll go down there. Worship Brother Dan, fire it off.
I actually have a kind of difference of opinion on those things. I mean, I have a past Masters one on my car right now, but I don't wear much regalia. When I wear a suit, I don't wear a name badge. I'll have a little thing on my lapel. I barely put anything on the car. I think if you want to know who I am, you come up and talk to me. I mean, I have the
Right.
tattoo on my leg. So when I work out at the gym, I wear shorts. People could see that I'm a Mason. And if you want to know, I mean, I wear the ring frequently. But I don't know. I'm not big into the flash or all the stickers or the. I don't know. I have a sticker now, like I said, but not much. That's not really.
Brother Dan.
When I started, mind you, I go through cars like they're underwear. So I've had too many cars to say.
Does that mean they're compact?
No, actually, I have nothing but big cars. So I've all nothing but sedans and trucks. So I've had something on every car that I've had. Actually, I just recently bought 2 new. I have a work truck, which I don't have anything just because it's a work vehicle. I don't know that my company would endorse it, even though I have asked my boss, and he told me flat out, you do what you want. If you want a Masonic thing, I don't oppose it. He told me I could, but I haven't put one on my new work truck. My girlfriend was the one that actually loved having Masonic stickers on my cars because when she would drive them, constantly she would be asked, and she wants something on my new car that she drives because of that reason. She actually really loves promoting the she's worn the Freemason podcast shirt to the gym, and she actually had a group approach her, and we're basically like, oh, you wore a Mason shirt not too long ago at the gym, right? And she absolutely is all for promoting the Masonic, or whatever the promotions for it.
Right.
As of right now, though, I don't have any. But every car that I've had previously has had at least one decal.
Rocco.
I've got the 7 liberal arts and a Masonic sign on one little plaque, but I'm rather embarrassed. The snow and salt has killed it. So I gotta go heat it up, get it off, and put a new one on. But I usually stick just one sticker.
Brother Ken. Worship Brother Ken.
I had a bunch on my old car, but I had the same problem. The winters in Connecticut are rough, and they destroy decals.
Yeah.
Unless you get one of the pricier ones, like the chromey ones, and I got one of those for my new car. It's the only decal I have on my car right now, and it's like the Memento Mori. Well, it faded. I have to get, inside the little cracks with a Sharpie and
I did
blacken
also
it up.
find if you get one of those antique ones, and then they get ruined, they're fine.
Yeah.
They still look antique.
Yeah, I mean, it's chrome, it's metal. You can always shine it back up. But I've got the square and compasses with the skull and crossbones in the center.
Nice.
Try to keep people guessing,
Yeah.
I guess.
Nice.
And let's see, I always wear my ring. I usually wear a small nondescript lapel pin when I'm dressing up for work or something like that. I'll wear
Something minor, like.
I don't really want to go into what it's called, but it's
Right.
not the square and compasses. It's one of the more subtle symbols of the fraternity.
Nice.
And I just wear that in case I meet somebody that I'm working with or a customer or something like that knows it. Then we can have a conversation, but nobody really knows that I'm a Mason unless
Comes to my job. I travel all over Connecticut, and I always wear the hat. And I've gotten into a lot of really interesting conversations just wearing the hat on my job because I travel all over Connecticut. And it's actually kind of neat just getting people's perspective from all over the state. And 90% of it is positive, actually, that I've gotten as far as reactions.
it's good to know.
What's your Brother Joe?
As far as the car, I just have one Square and Compasses metal emblem on there. There's one of those brass ones that have, like you guys said, got corroded from
Yeah.
all the stuff.
Connecticut.
I found that little WD-40 helps it a little bit, but that's all I have on the car itself, other than some non-Masonic.
Like I said, I got 4, one of each right that I belong to. So, All right. We're going to do a lightning round. We're going to go back to the 2 people per answer. So Joseph Schultz asks, how has the podcast affected I'm assuming that's you or your lodges. How has the podcast affected you or your lodges? Me, I have, I would have to say for me, and then I'll pick one other, but I'd have to say that the podcast has really affected me as in, it really hasn't affected my lodge, so to speak. It's not like people are like beating on the door yet saying, hey, I heard your podcast, want to join your lodge. Not yet. No, I'm hoping it gets to that point. But for me personally, it's given me as a past master, past district deputy, and, I've done everything there is to do in Blue Lodge. I'm still advancing through York Right into the Grand Lodge or the Grand Commandery and all that. But it's given me a purpose after the fact. It's given me a sense of something else to do on that end. John McManus writes, will Puppet George be making an appearance at the car show? That's a distinct possibility.
Yeah, and I think, perhaps for like a buck a picture, we can raise some additional money for the.
Yeah, we'll do a buck a picture. Sure. Maybe Puppet George will have his own kissing booth.
That would be freaking awesome.
I'm all about that one.
Well, you got one. You got one for free.
Picture.
You're working off a debit right now. You owe some money. That might cost you $2.
I should be free. What do you mean?
All right. So Joseph Schultz writes, who will win at a bar fight, Masonic Roundtable or you guys? Hold on. Let me start by saying this. I'm very good friends with Mike Hambrecht, who's a member of the Masonic Roundtable. As a matter of fact, they went live last night, and I was laying in bed. I tuned into them. I was watching them, said hello, was listening. They had a great debate on their podcast, about, whether or not to stay with your mother lodge or move or, demit or stay or whatever. So it was a great, and I want to actually, if you listen to our podcast, slide over to them. They got a great podcast, different format. They got a great podcast, good information, good guys, good Masons. I like them very much, but we'll kick their ass in a bar fight.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, they all jump on their podcast from around the country via Skype.
Yes.
We're all here in the same room. So I think by virtue of that fact alone, safety in numbers, right?
Safety in numbers.
Although Juan Sepulveda, I think he could beat our butts.
Yeah.
He seems, I haven't actually seen him, but from the sound of his voice, he sounds jacked.
Well, let me just tell you.
You meet the guys. They're actually.
We met him at
Masonicon.
So
yeah, Juan's huge.
I
right?
went to. No, actually,
He's not.
He's
That's
not.
the way you would describe it.
Now you describe it. Actually,
Kind of
when I met Mike Hambrecht, he walks up to me. Mike, the intern, walks up to me and he's like, "Hey, I'm Mike," and I'm like, "Fee, fi, fo, fum." I mean, granted, I got to look up to him, which isn't saying much. Go ahead, make your Puppet George crack.
That's
But
going to be your
that's
go-to.
too easy.
He's a big dude. He's a really big guy. So
Yeah, you saw like 5'7".
Yeah. Really big.
Seriously, we all listen to their podcasts.
Yes.
And they've been very helpful to
they
us.
have
too.
been
All jokes aside, they
absolutely
do have a
helpful.
Great podcast, but we can
Yes,
kick
they
their
do.
ass for sure.
Who has the most Masonic lapel pins? Whew.
I'm going with George.
No, I think
the guy.
I don't know. I think I have.
I don't
far
know.
too many.
The
What
guy.
was our
The guy.
the promotional? We put a promotional out. Who's the promotional guy that we always put out for the pins and all?
Oh, Upon the Point.
On the point. That's challenge coins and
And he
pins. Yep.
sent you like a
He
half
did
dozen
send
or
me a
dozen.
box of them.
Yeah, lapel pins.
Shout out to
So-
Worship Brother Dennis Burns. He
Yeah,
did send me a
I
lot.
was on
Great
a
stuff on that one.
Don't
I was on
forget,
a traveling degree team, and I would get a lapel pin.
Yeah, I was gonna
Anyway,
say.
So that was I have far too many lapel pins.
I
and I
have-
wear one.
I have basically a jewelry box dedicated
Yeah,
to just pins I've collected.
I've got a
that
drawer
too.
full of
I've got a whole little case
Right.
that I put them all
So,
in.
I mean, we'd have to literally go home
Have them all
and
sitting there. Yeah.
we'd have to literally go home and check.
Yeah, count.
I would
Count
have
that
to
out.
tally them all up.
I'll go home and count, and I'll let you guys know.
Chris Martinelli,
Hey,
Worshipful
Fred.
Brother Chris Martinelli, out of Liberty Continental Lodge. What is your biggest pet peeve that fellow brothers do or don't do in lodge?
That's a rough one.
Prompting from the sidelines.
Yeah.
Oh, you so
Prompting
prompting
from the sidelines.
Damn,
I got
that's
one that's
Oh,
That's so
God.
rough.
Especially after you announce we have a prompter. This is who is prompting. He is the only prompter. And then somebody chimes in when you're just doing that dramatic pause. Not that you forgot, but you're doing that dramatic pause, and they jump in. Oh,
Joe, I will say, love that you brought that up because that is one of absolutely my biggest pet peeves. If I look at the prompter, then I need a prompt.
Right,
if I don't,
then let me
then
go.
let
I
me
think
get
that's-
that pause in.
I think that's a resounding.
Yeah,
that's
I
pretty
like that
much
one,
mine,
Joe.
too.
Yeah, that's a big.
I would
I'm
firmly
gonna
agree.
say ad.
There's nothing worse than somebody correcting you midway through, especially during a dramatic pause, like Joe said.
Yeah.
You get that dramatic pause, like at one point, a ritual says, "Withdraw now while there is yet time." Dramatic pause,
Nope.
Right. That's
and
not.
then you start
not
your
a
next
point
thing,
from.
and they jump in with the next word, which is like the design. Yeah, I got it. Like just
Knew what it was. Yeah, you just.
come. Like,
Well, and it's even worse when they're wrong.
yeah.
And then you look over and you're like, no, I got this.
Actually, I stopped for a dramatic pause one time. You know what else drives me insane? I was actually given the obligation. I'm at the altar. Candidates are down. They're doing their thing. I mean, I'm not giving anybody secrets because you can watch on the History Channel. But there's nothing worse than having the chaplain or prompter next to you with the book open. And as you're trying to, I can only describe this. I'm going to try to show this on the camera. But you stop for the dramatic pause and you get this.
And then you got
The book in your face. Like, what are you doing? Dude, I got it. Like, I got it.
Someone
Like,
sideways.
I don't
kind of
need the
like,
book.
hey,
Like, and then you're
hey.
swatting the book away. Like, I got it.
My bigger issue is related. I would have to say if I had a secondary pet peeve to like people that prompt when they're not supposed to, it's people that echo back the obligation to you when you're trying to give it as the master.
Ah, yes.
So hearing it in the background and also from the candidates or hearing it from them as they're
Or saying it as you're saying it. Yes.
it just drives
Uh,
me insane. It totally throws you off.
Let me also add
Don't do that, brothers.
side conversation in lodge when there's
Oh,
another
okay.
conversation going on. When you're doing a degree and they're over there going, that drives me bananas. Especially like I've done the Order of the Temple. I did the commander part of Order of the Temple while I was in New Haven. And the acoustics of that building, you can hear a mouse fart from the other side of the room.
Oh yeah, it's a big,
So
big room.
a simple whisper quietly can be heard all the way across the room. It's an extremely large room. At some point, I will post pictures of it if anybody's interested in it. It's a very impressive building. But that's the absolute worst is when you're hearing side conversation. You want to talk about a distraction? Whew, it's insane. Chris Martinelli,
I'm going to jump in and just say ad-libbing. Can't stand it.
ad-libbing. Yeah.
People do that.
yep.
Like for a long
A fumble
time.
from here and there,
No,
but
it's fine. A word
major
here and there.
word changes,
But
I'd
when you
agree.
completely change it and put it in your own words. It's,
Right.
Yeah, it's not the same.
Chris Martinelli, who would win in a cage match, Puppet George or Worcester Brother George? Whew, I would have to go with Puppet George.
Going
I'm
with the puppet.
going with the puppet.
He's a squirrely
He's a
little
scrapper.
guy. Yeah.
He's a scrapper. For a little guy, he smokes a pack a day.
Right.
He drinks Jack Honey. He's a tough
He's a
little SOB.
scrapper. It'd be interesting. We can make that happen.
Do you think that the reason most Diana McManus? Do you think that the reason most Masonic lodges tend to be haunted because the brothers are so bound by their oaths that they're afraid to give up and move on? No, I don't. My personal opinion is that this is their happy place. We've said it before. Masonic lodges are our happy place. We come here,
It's my
we
escape.
hang out. It's our escape. It's our escape
Sanctuary.
from the sanctuary. Yep, sanctum sanctorum.
Sanctuary.
That'd be where I'd go, is to come back to a Masonic lodge and feel that camaraderie amongst brothers.
And to feel that peace that the
I
lodge
feel that
often
peace.
gives you.
Most Masonic lodges aren't the original building that was the Masonic Lodge.
Now, in our case, this was a Masonic lodge, and we came back.
Right.
So all of our activity ramped up when we came in here because I believe, in my personal opinion, that they're excited that we're back and
Right.
they're feeling part of it. So if we're going to get into the whole ghost thing of it,
It was a church. So
Oh, it was a
everybody
church,
makes a
right.
big deal about Harmony and in their otherworldly whatever that they have there, but it was a church.
Michael Alchin. Sorry,
Hey,
real
Michael
quick.
Alchin.
He's just
You
a
off the
quick good day, brothers. On my way back to the rig, and we'll listen later. Be careful out there, brother
Yeah,
Mike.
be
Please
careful,
be
brother
careful,
Mike.
Joe.
Please
I
be
drank your.
He's going to a drilling rig
Don't do a drilling, but
offshore. He's not
offshore.
driving there. Danny.
I thought he meant rig. Like
No,
well,
like
either
no,
way,
no,
the
no.
drill, the drill.
He sent me
Helicopter.
videos of he was out on the rig during the middle of a typhoon, and the
Oh,
waves
God,
just
yeah.
smacking the
Crazy.
hell out of this rig. Like, God bless him, because he's freaking nuts. He wouldn't catch my ass dead out there. It's insane.
That's a job and a half.
Do you all believe in ghosts? I would have to say, in my personal opinion, yes. Only because I've seen way too much crazy shit up here happen for me to not believe. What's your brother Joe?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I've seen him.
What's your brother Ken?
I'm a skeptic.
Brother Rocco?
You're the
I
man
was
of
on the
science.
fence before we renovated this lodge. During the renovation and after the renovation, it turned me 180.
Right. What's your brother Dan?
Also a skeptic.
Really? Skeptic. All right. All right. Brother Dan,
Yes.
believer in ghosts or not?
This is a tough subject for me.
This is gonna be a long-winded conversation. If any of you guys want to take a nap,
No,
now's the
I won't
time.
even. I won't even go into that much detail. I have family members that are avid believers, and it kind of strayed me away towards that because of the family members. Honest
What's up,
answer is
Brother Ted?
I would actually say yes. I am a believer in spirits sticking around for whatever reasons, and whether it be good or bad. Any type of thing that I've ever dealt with has always been kind of positive, as far as there's been certain superstitial things in my family that have gone on that basically my long story short, and I will say it, my
Not sure enough.
grandparents had a child that passed away very young. And
He's banging on the table. He's banging on the goddamn table again. He's banging on the table again.
This is why you have to hook up the shot collar. to the
Yes,
chair.
where is it? Take
gotta
hold
put
the
it
shot
in
collar.
there.
Yo, your
Hold the
shot collar is nothing. Go ahead.
I think it's off actually. I think it shuts off after
How do-
time.
how do I do
Oh,
that?
never mind. I was turning up the voltage.
There you
Go
go.
ahead.
It's on.
Turn it
I don't think it's on.
here. It's on.
It is on?
Yeah, it is.
His veins are all poppy.
No,
Are you sure?
There's not. No, it's not on.
I was
think
gonna say.
turned it on. How do I do it? No, yeah,
The
that's
light will
it's
be
on.
on when it's
Wait.
on.
Is the light on though?
The light's not on.
Turn on your heart light.
And you,
No, it can't.
I don't think it is.
Hold on.
Maybe the battery's dead.
it might be.
Have your
Is it
son
supposed
test
to
it
beep
out.
when it's on, or is it beeping when it's off?
The light is supposed to be on right now.
When it's on, if the light stays on.
Okay, at any rate.
Anyway,
Let's
Greg
Yeah.
Schultz has an excellent question here. Is
Give me
a
do
button.
you
All right.
Yeah,
fellas
real.
have any Masonic tattoos?
Ooh, I do not have any Masonic
I do.
tattoos because I am actually broke. Yeah, I don't have any Masonic tattoos. I just never got one.
That one right there.
That's cool. I like that.
I actually,
Never
Joe,
saw that.
I've never seen that one. That actually is really cool. I like that.
Well, it was dark when I was dressed in
No,
front of
you've
you, so.
always had sleeves on, is what it really
Huh.
comes out to.
I've got a little all-seeing eye over here.
Oh, you have a bunch.
Black
And then
ink.
I've got,
yeah, black ink too. I like it.
I've got the little Hermit
Yeah, I
Tarot
saw-
card
I
that's
saw
got the
that,
Seal of Solomon inside.
Let me just
I
say,
gotta say, the black
Yeah.
ink contrasts really well on
with my
ginger
porcelain.
skin.
Guys,
damn, you stole it from me!
I knew you were going to go there.
He stole it from me.
I'm gonna give you a compliment.
don't need additional color other than our hair.
Damn you, Ken! He stole the joke from me. I mean, he
I'm
ripped the rug
sorry.
right out from underneath me. No, it's fine.
More like a
Uh,
little mat for you.
I do. I have color. You know, my square compass.
But my all-seeing eye one is actually done by a brother.
Was it? Very
Yes,
nice.
past District Deputy Greg Schroeder,
Nice.
District 1.
I got one on my right calf, but it's hard for me to.
Yeah, I don't have
Flip it
any.
up over there.
I haven't got any Masonic tattoos yet. Although you want to read a good book, Dan Brown's The Lost Symbol is all
Yes.
about Masonic. And let me tell you, when they described the tattoos of the villain in that, it was awesome. He had both legs decorated as Jacob and Boaz.
Yep.
He had the crown on his head for the Knights Templar York Rite. He had the across. I think it was either his chest or his back was the twin eagle of the. Scottish Rite.
And he had his hand
Frickin-
tattooed like that.
Yes, like the
symbol
Hand of
that you
Mysteries.
see. Yeah.
And that was, if I had the money, yeah, that'd be awesome.
I'm still trying to design and figure out who's going to ink my first Masonic tattoo on me. But I do have something that's
Actually,
vaguely Masonic.
There are several.
We have a brother, Greg
Oh,
Schroeder.
Yes, Greg
I'm
Schroeder.
going to have to talk to Greg Schroeder.
And there's another one. Oh god, I just became friends with them on
Eye of
Facebook.
Horus.
I have Horus in there.
Like Dan Romanello or Romanacci or something like
Yep.
that. I've tried to convince them to maybe consider doing a Masonic Flash Day. You know, they do Flash.
Is that
art
like a
days.
flash dance, like a mob, like a
No, it's like I see. I was going like Flash
Masonic
dance, like,
mob flash,
Yeah,
or whatever the hell
We
it's
talked
called.
about doing that at our lodge too, about like having Masonic tattoo
Tattoo
night, where you bring in, you know, the artist can bring in, you know, everything that they need to make it like,
Yeah.
sterile an environment, and put down a flash paper and just be like, look, these are all whatever $50, whoever.
Flash is
wants
like
them.
the stuff you see up on the
Oh, that
wall
would
that's
be
already
cool.
pre-done.
Yeah, they got like
Basic.
I would come
Very
home
nice.
about $1,000 more poorer.
Mine is completely custom. So my dad survived cancer twice. So I wanted something a
Ah,
little
congratulations! That's awesome news.
unique. So I have a cancer ribbon, and it ties into the top of the square.
I noticed that on your like.
Yeah.
Just on a
That's
side
actually
note,
really cool.
So I think
Diana McManus told Greg Schultz to get a Puppet George tattoo.
You know that
on the Freemason podcast, the emblem that I don't know who put it out.
was it Peter
Well, we
Daigle
were
that did all those
asking for-
emblems?
That would be a great tattoo.
Grab it. Grab it.
The
Grab
I
it.
don't care.
Grab it.
I'll grab it. I don't.
I think it was Peter
I think
Daigle
it's
that
on.
did
I don't
those.
think it's, I'm telling you, I think that thing's dead.
No,
I think that would be free Patreon for life if you got a Puppet George tattoo.
You know which one I'm talking about. The
Yeah, the square
I don't-
encompasses with Puppet
Let me
George
see
in the
that.
middle.
In the
of it.
middle, yeah.
Let me see that thing. Fire that thing
Ready?
down.
That would be.
I
That
think
might
that would
be.
actually a pretty.
So when we have our
cool-
Battle of the Masters, that could be the loser's punishment.
I would get that. Yeah, I'm not a master. I'm not a
How
past
big of a
master.
tattoo we're talking?
Yeah, I was just gonna say as something small.
3 inches.
Yeah. So yeah.
All
Something
right,
small.
I'll take that.
Working?
Any position, any place we want.
Yeah,
The
cheap.
loser.
Well, the
Gotta
winners
go
get to
cheek.
pick. Can't do your face
A lot
and
of
your
tattoos
neck
won't
or
do
No
something.
A lot of
face, no
tattoos
neck.
won't do butt cheek.
No, you're absolutely right.
I can't tell if it's working or not.
I know a guy.
Oh.
Wow,
It's really on.
What is it?
I told you, man. It's like way above.
Who else
dog
wants to
strength
see if
right
it's
now.
really on?
It's on like.
Dan, check. Make sure it's on.
I take it like a champ, though. Yeah, go ahead.
No, you see him, he's like, ah!
You see my hand twitching.
Pass it
Until your
around.
heart stops.
You know it works
No, I
though.
don't want to hand it to me. It's not.
Dan,
I
just
do
stick it on his
like
arm. Just stick it on his arm. He'll be fine.
Big
He'll be
deal.
fine. Stick it on his arm. He'll be
No, I don't
fine.
want that.
He'll be fine.
Do it.
Have your son.
I won't,
Have your
because
son.
I think it's wrong to do it to somebody else that's not going to volunteer for that. You're not 100%.
I heard you before, yeah.
All right. While you guys are screwing around, Gideon actually had
Oh,
a pretty interesting
Gideon!
comment here. He said, "Have you guys seen the movie Bohemian Rhapsody?" Which I have.
Saw it
once,
and
but
loved
wasn't
it.
really
Did you
paying this
not
close
notice that?
attention. So he says there's a definite connection with Freemasonry. In one of the first scenes, first you see one of the people working on the Live Aid stage preparing the concert, so one of the roadies.
Yep.
There is a close-up of his Masonic ring. Next thing you see Freddie Mercury waking up, showing just one eye for a moment.
It's
Interesting.
Oh, I'm
I
going to have to go back
actually,
and watch
in
that.
the-
Oh my
in
god.
watching that movie, I watched it with my girlfriend. I paused it and I looked at her. Did you see that? And she completely blank faced. No, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Wow.
I was like,
Only
there is a
basically.
Masonic ring. They just showed and it's a clear. It's definitely a roadie carrying
Right.
like an amp or a box, some type of box.
I own it. I'll go back and check
And
it
when I
tonight.
say it's a close up of their hand carrying the box,
Okay.
and it is a clear.
So right in
clear
that
as
beginning
day.
opening sequence
One
when
of
they're
the scenes,
getting
yeah, absolutely.
before they
I'll put it this way:
flash back.
if you've seen the movie,
Yeah.
it's when he's about to walk through
In the
curtain
very
in the very
beginning.
beginning.
Yeah,
It's-
okay.
This is one of those movies that starts at the end,
Yeah.
and it's so when they show that it is clear as day, and it is
Right,
a
worship
Masonic
brother Chip
ring
Schofield
on his
joined.
hand.
Oh, did it?
And you're absolutely right, and I
Hey,
didn't
Chip.
take that into consideration. They do show him waking up with
Yep.
exactly that.
Hey,
Why
So
not?
he also asked what the connection was, and
that I don't.
Two things.
Yeah,
maybe
I
one of the
don't know if
producers
Freddie
or somebody
Mercury-
was amazing. I don't think
Maybe
Freddie
one of the
Mercury
producers
was.
or the
Yeah,
you gotta,
the movie.
That's what you have to
I've
look
never
at.
heard
Right, right,
You know, see who
director,
produced it, see who the
producers.
director
Two
was.
things I want to interject with real quick.
It is a really
Number
cool
one.
tattoo.
Number one, I love the fact that we take shots at each other, but we actually have people on watching live right now taking shots at each other.
Oh,
Yeah, I know.
So
that's-
Joseph Schultz writes, brother Joseph Schultz writes, who has family in the fraternity? I'm stuck with Greg Schultz. Who's watching too. And two, I want to do one more Masonic toast to right worshipful brother Chip Schofield. His birthday was a couple days ago, and he's
Oh,
watching.
let's
So
Happy birthday.
charge up
Oh,
your cannons.
as a matter of fact, Gideon, if you look on the
Oh my God, is he
Facebook
still on the
Gideon-
Bohemian Rhapsody thing?
Gideon posted the picture.
Mama.
That's awesome.
I did see.
Just kill the man.
So Joe actually took a dig at Greg because he joined a little bit later, and he's like, "I'm telling Mom."
That's awesome.
You guys are awesome.
All right, Cannon charge your line. We're going to do a toast to right
We're charging. We're charging.
Worshipful. Let's say the toast. Right, worshipful brother Chip Schofield. His birthday was a couple days ago,
Oh, happy birthday, brother!
so we're going to toast him. Ready?
Ready.
Brethren, right hand arms. Come on.
Arms.
Swarms.
Hold on.
Something. Yeah.
Ready. Ready. Aim.
Hey.
Fire. Good fire. Fire all. Together, brothers. Viva! 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 Happy birthday, brother Chip.
Happy birthday.
Happy
Chip.
birthday.
We're going to shut this down pretty soon. Getting pretty late,
Yeah,
so
football time.
it's about that time. We got football tonight. Real football.
Real football.
Real football.
Okay.
Not foosball or football.
Foosball's the devil.
Football to death.
Bobby Boucher, are you playing the foosball again?
Oh my God, I forgot all about that movie. I'm gonna go home and watch it. That was a great.
I love that
Oh my
movie.
God. My mama
I
said.
love that movie.
Mama said
Mama said.
football is the devil. You're wrong.
I like
Sanders.
Vicky Valancourt. She showed me her boobies.
And
I
I
like them too.
Medulla oblongata. We're gonna get sued. I swear.
Yeah.
Medulla oblongata.
Mama says that alligators are ornery because they got all them teeth and no toothbrush.
I can't. How did you say that?
I love it. Really sorry. I love that movie. I was just like, all right, brothers, we say we lock it up.
All right.
So everybody,
For those
hopefully,
who don't know, that's a Waterboy reference.
that's
They all
a
have-
lot of
Yeah,
Waterboy
yeah.
references. If you've never seen it, watch the movie The
Yeah,
Waterboy. It's
Bobby
freaking
Boucher.
hilarious.
Oh God.
Me, your daddy Roberto.
I think that was. It was like the last.
I forgot all about that part. Then he's got
We
the
could be all like that Tiger Woods and his daddy.
says Captain Insano.
His career just started.
That is your power bomb by Captain Insano. All right, brothers, let's lock it up. All right, for the Freemasons podcast, I'm your host, Right Worshipful Brother George Marjorie, signing off.
Worshipful Brother Joe, signing off.
Worshipful brother Waterboy Ken Tarwood signing off.
Brother Rocco.
Brother Daniel signing off.
Rocco didn't speak.
Worshipful Brother Dan.
Rocco, you didn't speak loudly into the mic. Can you please grab the shot collar for just one more time? Please?
Oh,
That's some
Just
high
one more
quality
time.
H2O.
That's how we end it.
That's how we end. All right, good night, brothers.
Good
Good night.
Night.
That was awesome. All right, we're going to shut down the live stream. Everybody's watching live. Have a good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Thank you.